Yeah, we got two other ones. All right,
We're ready?
we're recording and go. You can
Okay.
call to order.
All right, welcome. Thank you everyone for being here. This is our July park board meeting. Like to call to order and start with our roll call. Janice?
Jose is absent. Kara?
Here.
Robin Paulson is absent. Scott?
Here.
Kristen?
Here.
Okay. Everyone could now rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first item is public input. First, Martin, is there any electronic correspondence?
We did not have any. I will point out in my board report some that was last month, that way was included as part of that.
Okay. Next, public input. If anybody would like to come up?
For public input, if you can just say your name and address for the record.
Be sure you sign in, please.
I can do all that.
Thank
Okay. Good evening. My name is Kristen Rowland and I live at 453 Lucy Lane. I was born and raised here in Munster and now my husband and I are raising and growing our own family here. You may remember me or my husband from previous meetings as we have been passionate advocates for bringing a park to our neighborhood. Growing up in Twin Creek, I had two parks and just a bridge apart. I never realized what a privilege that was until I became a parent and understood the value of having a safe place within walking distance where children can play, families can gather, and neighbors can build a community. I'm here today to speak on behalf of the families of Community Estates, along with a lot of them. With recent reductions in state funding, there is a possibility that funding intended for our neighborhood could be reallocated elsewhere. I don't want us to lose this opportunity because we've been unable to move forward. After speaking with my neighbor and school board member, Amy Snyder, I reached out to Kelly Ganser, who spoke at the April 2026 Park Board meeting and offered to donate her family's vacant parcel at 443 Megan Way for our neighborhood park. Kelly and her husband David shared that the town reached out once, but it has not progressed beyond that initial conversation, which was made 60 days after the offer in April. They asked me to let the board know that their offer still stands today. Kelly could not be here tonight because she is working, but I brought copies of our correspondence confirming this. Tonight, we're simply asking for an update on where things stand and what the next steps are. There are more than 70 children who live in Community Estates. They deserve that same opportunity to safely play, explore, build friendships, and make memories that children in every other Munster neighborhood enjoy. Parks are not just an amenity or a bench. They are an investment in our children, families, and the future of our neighborhood. Thank you for your time and your service to our community and for considering the future of our families here at Community Estates.
No one else?
Good evening. My name is Eric Johnston. I live at 10132 Barbara Lane in Community Estates. I brought my wife, Caitlin, our son Jude, and our daughter Ella tonight because this issue is deeply personal to our family. I was born and raised in Highland and then spent 10 years living in Chicago. When it was time to choose where we wanted to raise our children, we intentionally chose Munster. To me, Munster has always represented the best of Northwest Indiana: strong schools, safe neighborhoods, and a community built around families. Many of our neighbors made that same decision. Community Estates now has approximately 55 completed homes, with more still being built each and every day. Almost every occupied home has about 2 to 3 children, 4 women in the neighborhood are currently pregnant, and there are well over 100 continue to grow in our neighborhood. Yet, we still do not have a safe, walkable park or playground. I understand there have been difficult decisions, including location, planning, funding, and we're new to the neighborhood, so I'm not here to criticize or like come at anyone personally, but really just here to ask for some help. Our children only get one childhood. Every additional year of delay is meaningful to families with young children. Jude's almost 3, Ella's only 4 months old, and we want them and all the children in Community Estates to grow up with the same neighborhood park experience that so many other Munster families enjoy. The need is here, the families are here. The neighborhood is continuing to grow and funding has already been discussed for this project. So please help us move this forward. We are respectfully asking for a clear decision on the location, honest timeline for when construction can truly begin. We chose Munster because we believe it was the best place to raise our family. We are asking for help in making sure Community Estates becomes part of that promise. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Raj. I'm not as bold as Kristen and Eric to have my kid up here with me. However, I do have my kid Malav and my wife Neha here. So my name is Raj. I live in Community Estates. We talked a few months ago about the same issue. I want to echo everything Eric and Kristen has said so far. So I'm not going to repeat any of that. However, I would like the opportunity to thank you all to hear us out. And also, I would like to get an opportunity to maybe get an update on some designs. I know Mark mentioned maybe a couple of months ago that he was considering getting some designs from some of the engineers. So if there has been any updates on that, I would love to hear about that if at all possible. With that, I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, thank you.
If you'd like, I can proceed on kind of where we're at, just so everyone's knowledge where everything is at right now. We have reached out to Ms. Ganser in regards to that property. As you may or may not be aware, our town attorney was working on that with us, and in the last month or so, they resigned from town's legal representation. So that has unfortunately delayed us a little bit. That was an unanticipated delay. They were looking at it from a couple of perspectives. One, the land acquisition, what agreement we have to go through to get that to happen, and also potentially a necessary memorandum of understanding if the NICD property.
And that's at the game property.
Yeah.
So those would both be needed necessary instruments from the legal counsel for us to move forward with those. We had also been planning to have that discussion as far as the development of the potential property, because of that being a land acquisition, that could potentially be an executive session, which because of the details in regards to that is one of the considerations that's required for those types of meetings. I have had proposals submitted to me from several different playground vendors. I don't want to share those with the public until we kind of get closer to the point of deciding which property we're on, which is where we're at. But those have been coming in. I will tell you that most playground vendors, once you order the equipment, expect 8 to 12 weeks before it's arrived. Installation would follow that, which could take another month, maybe 2 months, if you will, depending on how much detail that goes. But those are typical timelines for any type of equipment or installation and ordering. if it ends up being on Nickty property, there likely will be some, landscaping that needs to be moved, because they've heavily planted that stretch along Allison. So that's another consideration there that we'll have to deal with as well. So, hopefully, we're obviously missing two of our board members here tonight, so any further discussions beyond that at this point, we're not prepared to be making yet, but it is something that we want to do. The funding that we have set forth for that is through bond issues. That is meant for capital improvements only. That will not go away regardless of operational cuts that we may have that are being implemented by the state through the SCA one impact. So that money is there. Talk about funding, the land, the equipment. So
I think the biggest setback is-
something else
No.
that didn't get touched on.
I think the biggest setback for us right now is the fact that we were ready to move forward and then we lost our law firm.
Right,
And to let you know, our current lawyer that is serving, he's not permanent. So within the next month, meaning August, we should have a permanent lawyer. That's the goal for the town council and for us. Then we can move forward with working with the Ganser property, if that's the site that is chosen. I've gone out there several times, so there's only a couple spots I think are viable in your neighborhood area. I like the Ganser property a lot, and there's probably on their site too. So they do like Mark said, you gotta remove a lot of the landscaping. Nickty's been pretty good lately with some of this stuff. Getting back to us about, they do have a new person that we deal with, and she's been very good about responding to Mark. So if that's an area we chose, hopefully it should be fast so we can move forward, but that's a big setback for us to lose our law representation when we're ready to move forward. So.
and I'll add, I'll say it from the staff perspective, and it's in our master plan. It's been in, repeatedly, I think from you guys collectively as a board, that this is a park and this is a desire that the park board wants to have a park to service that area of the community. So I think that, everyone is on the same page from that perspective of it. It's just a matter of getting to that finish line of actually getting shovel in the ground to get started with it, so.
And I don't know how close a lot of you are to that Ganser property. It's the one on the very back.
Yep.
Right.
There's two lots, so it'd be one,
It's actually 444 Megan Way.
it's
is the
four,
address.
yes, 444,
Yeah.
right? So that is something that we are looking at very closely, that spot and maybe one other.
Thank you.
Sure, sure. Thank you guys for coming. Okay, if there's no one else, our next item is consent agenda. So we need approval for that. So motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve. I'll second.
Roll call, Jen.
Kara,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. Any questions or concerns? Next would be reports, Mark, or July.
Yes, I have, I'll run through, you have a written report, but I'm gonna highlight a few things from this as I normally do. The Westlake Park Washer Building is getting closer, the masonry is done out there, the building, you see the physical building, the physical structure out there, is complete, the interior work is now beginning. Electric out there, just, we've been working with NIPSCO, and just yesterday, they have to turn off power to our existing panel that's in the park. So it can be rerouted to the building, and then we'll reconnect that panel to the through the building to the things that it feeds, which are the site lighting along the pathway. So it may be a couple of days that we have those lights out overnight, but that is part of the progress and was anticipated as part of that construction out there. The fiber line was run to the building as it was previously authorized, so as the continuation of the additional internal devices, electric, heating, everything else that happens, they'll be working on that stuff. The other one that on NIPSCO side of it, we do still need to run a gas line. They would not even quote it to us before there was somewhere to where they could see where they're gonna terminate at the site. So now that the building is there, they can see where they're gonna terminate. We just started that today, with that request to them. So that is underway. We are likely, if things are well, we're hopefully by the end of September, we're gonna have that building completed. So this is the anticipation at this point. The NIPSCO and Fisher Street Trail repave, the town council did approve the second phase of that repaving. Site Services has both phases of that, so we're waiting on a response from them to when it'll be on their schedule. We've asked them to try to get that done before the school year begins. I've shared that with the school operations staff, so they're aware of that, but we're still waiting to hear back from that. But that will be from where the Bridges Over Ditches project left off, running all the way west to and through the school property at the south end of the parking lot, at the south end of the pool parking lot, through Community Park, and then all the way down to the driveway at Public Works. Is that those two phases? So that'll all get repaid. The Cobblestones Park Courts project, the tennis and pickleball court, I'm happy to report that those are, I actually put in the report that it was substantially complete. That project is complete with one small thing tomorrow morning. They're putting up the posts and the nets and it'll be open. So tomorrow will be available for people to start playing on those courts. So they have them, it's all on site. It's just a matter of putting those in and getting that project going there. Independence Day festivities went well. Our department's heavily involved with that. Obviously, at Centennial Park on the 3rd, with the fireworks, the food vendors, the stage entertainment, interdepartmental coordination, and then the night of the weather changing. Ultimately, if you were at the show, you're aware that the fireworks went off at 8:45 instead of 9:30 because weather was moving in and we had to get it going to make it happen that night. I wanted just a special shout out to our staff that was on site and even Mark Hyduk, the fire chief. Things that people don't see in the public, 9 a.m. the fireworks arrives to set up the display for that night. They come in a full box truck to get up on top of that landfill. They tried 5 or 6 times on the normal way up coming by the fire station, couldn't make it up because of the rain from the night before. They kept getting stuck in the mud. Ran through, drove them up the backside of our cart path from the maintenance garage cart path to the golf course, brought them in on the backside of the driving range. Same thing happened over on that side. 3 or 4 times got stuck. We pulled them with a tractor from our golf staff. Dan from the golf course was there, pulled them up, couldn't get that up. Our maintenance staff arrived. This is now 11 a.m. Our maintenance is there for the event now, and they pulled with a bigger tractor, couldn't get it up there. Fire chief showed up, we got a hold of him, he was able to get the town's front end loader, which is what it took to get us all the way up there, but a lot of work. They were up there by noon. It took a lot longer than we anticipated, but it's what we do as part of the events, some of the behind the scenes kind of stuff that happens. So National Night Out's coming up first Tuesday in August. We're working with Sergeant Grice about the preparations for that, again, because that's at Community Park and by the pool and within the park. We're heavily involved there, as are really all of the town departments. I mentioned briefly earlier, but the town legal representation, Westland and Bennett, they did resign from serving the town. We have Attorney John Reed is temporarily as the interim legal services covering the town for us. And the town council is anticipating, last I heard, to try to make a selection of a new legal firm to represent the town at one of their meetings in August. The town manager, if you have not heard, is retiring this week. Friday is his last day. So that's also kind of, there's small things that connect us to the other departments of the town and processes internally that he's part of, hiring and just approving things. That those are hiccups that sometimes slow us down, that unfortunately do cause delays that we don't like and don't anticipate, but it's the process, it's the secondary checks of things that we have set up through as a unit of the government. So I just want to highlight, I put the whole email last month. I had received an email from Christine Fortney. She had relayed through Robin on the board that she was upset that this wasn't recorded to you or reported to you. I had summarized about e-bikes and some of her concerns last month. She felt like I was leaving parts out, so I sharing with you the full text of her email as it was sent to me. So you can read it for yourselves, but I still feel like I did it justice. She didn't particularly say this was for public comment at the meeting. That's why I just summarized it as I would any other discussions that I received. So I shared with her in the future if she wanted to be something like that submitted to make sure to ensure that to spell that out to me when sending it to me, so she's clear on that as well. On the recreation side of things, summer camp is continuing to run well. We did have some folks drop out because of some injuries that they sustained. Not at our camp, outside of camp. It was through e-bikes and e-scooters. But we did want to just mention and clarify that was something that is enrolled. It's the summertime, besides the 4th of July and the special events that we're doing. It's, summer camp is in full swing. Tennis lessons are big. Swim lessons continue. Our sports camps are going. The concerts, we have one going on tonight out of Centennial. We have our movies in the park happening. So just all of our other special events, the Touch a Truck, last weekend we did Touch a Truck on Friday. We did our Decades Fest on Saturday. Kids Fest was on Sunday. So, I mean, it's been a full boat. Quite a busy summer for all of our staff in our office. The movie in the park, recently we had Lilo and Stitch was out there. We had 625 people show up to those. A lot of those are events that, honestly, we get more people at our movies in the parks than we do at a lot of our concerts. I don't think people realize that in the community, but we get fantastic turnouts for those. Region Eats ran. We had 15 food vendors as well as 15 arts and crafts and other business vendors out there on site. The Touch a Truck had 22 vehicles with over 600 people in attendance at that event. I mentioned the Kids Fest. We had over 2,000 people attend that event. I mean, that's a huge event for us with almost 600 wristbands sold. So definitely, part of a busy summer for us on the recreation side of things. Besides that, the month of June is our busiest typically, the summer months at the social center with our rentals there. We had 56. That's almost doubles our amount of rentals for the whole year up until this point, out at so far this year at the social center. So, I mean, things are happening there. And we try to get in as many as we can and accommodate a lot of those requests. A lot of graduation parties at this time of year, birthday parties, as well as some of the others that happen throughout the year as well. And maintenance is there to support us as we continue with that, just, continuing their mowing and regular routine, maintenance, cleaning up of washrooms and garbage pickup in the parks. They've definitely had some challenges. It's been a wet season this year, as Chris may report at the golf course, but the most rain we've had in June in a while here, which means grass is growing. We usually get to a lull in the summer where grass is a little bit slower to grow. We really haven't hit that this year yet. So they've been busy out there keeping up with it and being out there in the hot temperatures, doing their workforce to keep our parks looking good. Besides that, we poured a concrete pad out at Beach Park for a memorial bench, added that out there as well. The Lions Shelter and Rotary Shelter were both scraped and repainted. The a new dumpster enclosure at Community Park by the ball field garages, so it's on the east side of the property, closer to the east of the Babe Ruth fields over there. Was also completed. We did hire we filled our vacant maintainer 2 position. We had a transfer over from the Public Works Department. Chris Bronicky came over, so he just started a week or so ago, so we're happy to have him on with us. He had been over at Public Works for a couple of years already, so it's a nice addition. Someone who already is a little familiar with a lot of our town departments and locations and things like that. That makes it a little bit easier to transition them over to our department. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris to cover activity over at the golf course.
Good evening. I'd have to reiterate what Mark said there. We had over 13 inches of rain at the golf course just in June. As Dana says, it's one of the wettest months he's seen on hand, and he's been here for about a decade. So with the rains, I believe it was probably the July 3rd storms. It actually put us over the total amount of rain we had for the 2025 season. With that said, it actually has helped improve the top quality of the turf, kind of which we touched upon last month, and helped us kind of decrease any of the irrigation that we've had to do as well too. So it's been extremely helpful with that. Thanks to our grounds crew for all of their hard work. With the storms that came through, a lot of the courses around us had to close for cleanup and everything. We actually did not. I think we may have closed for like a half a day. But I said with their hard work, it's helped us actually increase bringing other customers in. So we were actually above budget for round screen fees, range revenue, and food and beverage for the month of June. So I do want to thank them for all of their hard work for that. They also mowed a new grass tee on the very back of the range. This actually helps us so we can do kind of private instructions without actually interruption of any of our current customers who are using our range. A lot of times when it's up there, place is just absolutely packed and it's hard to find a place to kind of do any of those lessons for them. So they created an entire just like little range in the back of the range specifically for instructions back there. One of the other big things they want me to touch on, and so Centennial Park, Dan, and the Audubon project are actually in the July issue of Golf Course Industry. The article itself is Attract, Identify, and Protect, and it's all about a lot of the progress that's been made through out of the Audubon system and environmentalists throughout the country. And like the Dan and Centennial Park actually made the magazine for this month. Great. Yeah.
Great.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
I'll give you a couple of aerial drone shots that they sent us of the cobblestones.
Yeah, it looks really good.
See what it looks like.
There was in the box of posts, like.
Stands posted in that same.
Yeah, I'm like, no. Yeah, I was like, hopefully nobody takes a post. Did the Historical Society reach back out to you about?
They haven't yet. I met with Carol and I'm waiting for a response back to me with a date for us to meet and then we can discuss that. I saw several of the different vendors that do the gazebo. They've given us proposals already, want to share that with them for them to review and we'll take a look at it, but I'm waiting for a date that works for them to come in and meet with us. So the last that we had told was they definitely wanted to wait till after the 4th of July. The Historical Society also normally does our concessions on our Sunday night concerts here, and they've missed out, I think, on all this year, right? I mean, people look forward to their root beer floats that they normally have, but we've had, you know, I think the weather, a couple iffy nights, and then this last one was the smoke, was kind of out there. So, you know, that's an older crowd of who's doing that work. So they unfortunately kind of just canceled on us, and then we don't have anyone selling anything there, but we'd like to give them that opportunity to be there, so we try to have them there and not have any other vendors competing with them, if you will. So, but we're waiting to hear back from them for a date.
With National Night Out coming up, are we close at all to the actual resurfacing or servicing of the new tennis courts? I haven't gone back.
No, they haven't even poured concrete yet on that,
Okay.
unfortunately. There's, my last meeting, and not going into too much detail with that, because that's their project, but, they are hoping to pour soon. It'll be done in 3 different pours. They have such a larger footprint than what we had out at the site here. The company that did our pour and did our courts is who's doing the same pour, Vernon Jones, for the school town as well. But they're trying to time that out and make up for some lost date with all this rain. Unfortunately, that did cause, rain doesn't go well with construction, so it did delay some of their, especially where they had to excavate and create, you know, they're creating a smaller detention area and things like that. So that has hurt them, as well as they've also struggled with NIPSCO, unfortunately, on their project as well, just getting responses. And I'm not purposely, I'm not throwing NIPSCO under the bus. They are in emergency status. These big storms that are blowing through, not only here in Munster, but in our area, the broader area. They're when that happens, you know, it goes through Griffith, it goes through Maryville. When that happens, they stop all new anything. They're on immediate, you know, to restore services to everybody. So, you know, and unfortunately, we've had a decent amount of those this summer, more than usual. So that's kind of caused some delays for us overall, but yeah, it'll be a little while. I think they're still if kind of knocking on wood to get it done still this year. I think that's their intent, get it done. It's going to be weather delayed because they don't want to paint courts after it's supposed to be about 50 degrees. So hopefully it gets there and the pours are there, because remember, just like we had, after you pour the concrete, it has to cure for like a month before you can put the coatings on it too. So.
Okay. The only other question I had was the water fountains at Twin Creek and West Lakes. Were those vandalism or just general maintenance?
Those, I think they, just something broke on them and that was, you know, so we'll get those random calls once in a while. I typically those aren't vandalism. It's usually just repetitive, pushing to the buttons or it's people jamming stuff in there. So I don't know if I call that vandalism. It's just kids, you know, picking up the crushed limestone and that's where they're playing and washing their hands and then it clogs drains and that kind of thing. Typically, that's what we normally get in our drinking fountains and not only here at Munster. That's
everywhere.
an industry standard. I hate to say it.
Anyone else?
I just have one comment. I wanted to thank you on behalf of the community garden for the, approving our paver project. So
Yes, yes.
we had two guys come out and help us lay paver bays. We got the pavers down and now we can walk from the path directly into the garden without stepping on a very low spot of grass where it was muddy. So there's a cute little tinker box that the moms of Munster put out there that the kids are doing some stuff with, and we have a garden going with some grants, so that, I just love it. And I want to thank you for your timeliness on that.
No, it's nice. It's a nice, you're welcome. It's a nice, addition there. I know that they're pull water from our building, having the building right there to be able to, you know, put some water on the plants at times when it's needed. It hasn't been needed as much this year, but it's nice to have that when it is available there. That reminds me, I also want to mention to you, I've had a request from Pop Warner about putting some kind of storage unit out there of some sort. They were looking at a smaller shed. I'm working with the community development department to figure out what we could potentially allow to be there and we'll see where that gets us. We may be back next month with that as a formal request. If it's a small enough thing that I may be able to authorize that. We've also considered the potential of maybe trying to squeeze or carve it out of our maintenance yard and like, because we have our fence in the back of the building there, can we carve out a little piece where they could like kind of snug it in as a piece of a puzzle, if you will, and separate that from the rest of our yard, but give them the capability. Right now, what they do with all their tackling dummies and stuff, they truck them home to someone's house every single night. So they're just looking for something better for some storage out there as well. So, so we're working with that. Once I have a better response from community development, what can be allowed out there, we'll be giving them some directions.
I don't think you mentioned it, Mark.
Mhm.
We did lose our intern.
We did lose our
I
intern,
just want to
yes.
thank Jill, Mark, Janice, everyone else for picking up that slack, because I know it adds a lot, especially in the summer. So thank you guys very much for picking all that slack up.
Yep.
I appreciate it. We all do. That leads us to items for discussion and action, and the only item we have this month is the Centennial Park Electrical Redistribution Project. We had two bids, Sargent Electric and Midwestern Electric.
Yes, this is the project, but last month we rejected the first time we bid this because we only had one bid from Midwestern. This time we rebid it. We made a few little small changes. We gave them longer duration of time to get the project done and also asked them to bid it with prices per bid item. So there was a few breakdowns within the bids that we had included there. So the two bids came in. Midwestern is the lowest again. Their base bid of $468,400 and the alternate A, which is basically to bore, when they have that opportunity to do so, to bore the cabling through. So that would be an additional add that's what alternate A is there. So, being out in the park, that's going to be open the whole time. Whenever this work gets done, I think the boring does allow us to, keep it as more presentable, you know, over time as we do that. We don't have to rip up asphalt and parking lots, and some of the other areas where they have to run the new cabling through there for it. So, this is a project that we were anticipating. This is something that the remaining balance from our settlement funds, which is, I was mentioning earlier, those are the funds from the lawsuits from the original construction of the building that the town settled with all the various contractors. That's what the funds that were used to build the new golf building, pro shop, and the cart storage barn building. We're gonna use a combination of funds to be able to fund this project, assuming you approve it. We would take $300,000 from those remaining funds. And then we would pay the balance of it, for this project out of the, bond issue funds, which right now, because of the Fisher Street Trail I mentioned earlier was already awarded, we had a much more significant number in there for that, bike trail repaving to be done. And there's enough money in there to transfer to cover the difference to add us up to that $480,000+ figure there. So we are recommending awarding this Centennial Park Clubhouse Electrical Redistribution Project to Midwestern Electric for their base bid plus alternate A at a total cost of $480,400 to be paid for from those funds, as I mentioned.
Okay.
If you would so want to make that motion.
Anyone have any questions?
They did just check, so we got it down 16 grand at least.
It did, and yeah, because last month the bid came in at 496,000, I think it was, off the top of my head. At this point, I will say that because it was a lump sum and they, they put some figures in there to protect themselves. But I think at this point, I will anticipate that there will be change orders because they are going to, as they go through the ground, unfortunately, that's the ground of Centennial Park. It was a dump at one point, not necessarily trash, but there's other debris that's in there. They're gonna come across bricks and concrete and things like that. We know that we will, I would bet money that we will have change orders, unfortunately. I wish we wouldn't, but I'm expecting that to be some. Hopefully they won't be, significant to us, to this, but we are recommending that awards.
Okay, so we are looking at, for a motion to approve the bid from, Midwest Electric for the total of $4,400.
Motion to approve the bid from Midwest Electric. All second.
Roll call, James.
Can I,
Here.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt?
Sure.
Can I just, for the record, for the minutes, can you
Clarify.
Do we have to?
clarify your motion to include the alternate A? I just want to make sure that that's in your motion. So to award it,
That's what.
the base bid and the alternate A to that total. Here, let me say it, and if you want to choose to say so move, that's your choice. But we would recommend the awarding of the Centennial Park Clubhouse Electrical Redistribution Project to Midwestern Electric for the base bid plus alternate A at a cost of $480,400 to be paid from the funds as suggested in the memo today.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, James.
Kara,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Without an attorney here, I just wanted to.
Yeah, no, I think,
Totally agree.
yeah. At this time, our next meeting is Tuesday, August 18th at 5 o'clock. And at
Mark,
this
are
time,
we trying to reschedule that executive session now, or are we still waiting?
I'm gonna see when Jose's out for this whole month,
Then I'll be out.
and then, yeah, I think we're gonna probably wait till, hopefully, once the council makes a new attorney, and then we'll have to get it on their schedule, so I may have to circulate that, that could be a different date than our regular meeting night, depending on their availability, once they make a selection. I'll.
Individual council members go do site visits before that.
Yeah, I would encourage you to go out there and visit it. I mean, you've heard a lot of it. I mean, the 444 Megan Way, looking at the park properties, I can circulate, the properties that we've earmarked just to reiterate to them so you can see it. I know we've had sketches along the way, but I can circulate those back out and just have you do that. And if you can go in, if you want to meet me out there with you, I'm happy to do that as well, so.
okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion. I
All
will
in
second.
favor? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
Everyone
you.
have a great night.